What if I told you that over 2,500 years ago, before science existed, before physics, before astronomy, before biology, one man tried to explain the entire universe using reason alone? No gods pulling the sun across the sky, no myths about cosmic monsters, no divine drama controlling nature, just observation, logic, and curiosity. That man was Anaximander, one of the earliest philosophers in human history, and possibly the first person to seriously attempt a fully natural explanation of reality itself. And the crazy thing is, some of his ideas were shockingly ahead of their time. He thought the Earth floated in space. He believed humans evolved from aquatic life. He imagined the universe governed by laws instead of gods. This was in the 6th century BCE. So today, we're diving into the life, philosophy, cosmology, and legacy of Anaximander, the philosopher who helped change the way humanity thinks forever. Anaximander was born around 610 BCE in the Greek city of Miletus, located in what is now modern-day Turkey. Miletus is one of the most important cities in the Greek world at the time. It was wealthy, connected to trade routes, and exposed to ideas from Egypt, Babylon, and other advanced civilizations. And this environment produced something completely new: philosophers. Not philosophers in the modern sense that we have today, not professors or internet debaters, but people trying to understand the fundamental nature of reality. Anaximander was a student of Thales of Miletus, who is often called the first philosopher in Western history. For more about Thales, click on my previous video. But Thales believed that water was the fundamental substance behind everything. But Anaximander thought that explanation wasn't deep enough. And this is where philosophy really begins. Anaximander's most famous idea was something called the apeiron, the boundless or infinite origin of all things. The word apeiron roughly means the infinite, the indefinite, the boundless. According to Anaximander, the universe did not come from water, fire, air, or any ordinary substance. Instead, everything emerged from this mysterious infinite source. And that idea was revolutionary for its time. Now why? Because Anaximander was moving beyond mythology and even beyond physical explanations. He realized that if one element dominated reality completely, the others couldn't exist. Fire destroys water, water extinguishes fire, so the origin of reality had to be something deeper than any individual element. This is one of the earliest abstract philosophical concepts in history. Instead of saying the universe comes from a god, or the universe comes from water, Anaximander says reality comes from an eternal, indefinite source beyond ordinary things. That's a big leap in human thought. Only one direct fragment of Anaximander's writing survives today, but it's incredibly important. He says, "Things give justice and recompense to one another for their injustice, according to the ordering of time." Now that sounds poetic and mysterious, but the basic idea seems to be this. Nature operates through balance. Hot and cold compete. Wet and dry compete. Life and death replace one another. Nothing rules forever. Summer becomes winter. Day becomes night. Everything eventually returns to equilibrium. This is important because Anaximander is describing nature as a lawful system, not random divine actions, not emotional gods controlling events and weather, a system governed by order, and that idea becomes one of the foundations of science itself. Now here is where Anaximander gets really impressive. Most ancient cultures believed the earth rested on something: pillars, water, giant creatures, divine foundations. But Anaximander asked a different question. Why does Earth need support at all? His answer was astonishing. He believed that the Earth floated freely in space because it was equally distant from everything else. That may sound simple now, but at the time it was revolutionary. He was trying to explain the structure of the universe using logic rather than just myth. Anaximander also imagined celestial bodies as enormous rings of fire hidden behind openings. When the openings closed, eclipses happened. Now obviously his astronomy was incorrect in many ways, but what matters is the method he used. He was searching for natural explanations, and that shift changed part of history. One of the wildest things about Anaximander is that he may have proposed an early version of evolutionary theory. He believed humans originally came from aquatic creatures. Because human infants are too weak and helpless to survive on their own, he reasoned that early humans couldn't have survived in primitive conditions unless they developed inside another kind of animal first. So he concluded that humanity must have originated from some kind of fish-like life forms. Now, this was not evolution in the modern Darwinian sense, but it was still extraordinary. Instead of explaining humanity through mythological creation stories, Anaximander attempted a natural explanation for human origins. Again, the details were wrong, but the approach was groundbreaking. Anaximander was also one of the first people to create a map of the known world, and that's more important than it sounds. A map represents the belief that the world can be understood, organized, and represented rationally. That's what philosophy was becoming, an attempt to turn chaos into understanding. But Anaximander wasn't just asking isolated questions. He was trying to create a complete picture of reality. Today, people usually remember Socrates or Plato and Aristotle, Kant and Hegel, but philosophers like Anaximander laid the foundation for all of them. He helped introduce the idea that nature follows laws. Reality can be understood through reason. The universe operates independently of mythology, and this is one of the most important intellectual transformations in human history. Anaximander represents the moment humanity began moving from mythological thinking towards philosophical and scientific thinking. And even though many of his conclusions were incorrect, his method changed everything. Because people started asking, can the universe be understood rationally? And there was no turning back from that. Anaximander lived over 2,500 years ago. He had no telescope, no microscope, no modern science, no advanced mathematics. And yet somehow he imagined an infinite cosmic origin, natural laws governing reality, the Earth floating in space, and humans emerging from some kind of earlier life. That level of intellectual ambition is incredible, especially for his time. He wasn't just asking what the world is made of, he was asking whether reality itself could be understood. And in many ways, that question became the foundation of philosophy, science, and the modern world itself today. So while names like Socrates and Plato dominate the history books, of course, philosophers like Anaximander were the ones who first opened that door. And once that door opened, human thought would never be the same again.